links to join channel here for 99 cents or over at Subscribestar. Check out the Rumble and the Odyssey. So woke activists tries to harass Sci-Fi convention into banning one of the authors. The rise of this social media concern troll, the passive aggressive soy boy and cat lady. And when you read this tweet in the Facebook post, in case you're not reading it, she goes, I don't think he's an appropriate choice given the usual tone and inclusiveness of MarsCon. That's how they speak with everything. I just wanted to open with that. And then, I mean, the only way to answer all this kind of stuff is you say, oh, no, he's fine. Well, I just don't think. I think inclusiveness and diversity and problematic. No, he's fine. He's fine. If you want to send us something behind the scenes, we're not going to have this out in the court of public opinion because it just feels like defamation. So you can send it to us behind the scenes, or we're going to have to block you. And, ultimately, listen, if you don't like one of the guys, you don't have to go to the event at all, or you don't have to go to his table or whatever he's signing books or whatever he's selling. It's like, you don't have to ruin it for everyone else. You just don't have to be this busybody. Like, that's not diverse and include. Wait, ma'am, are you even planning on attending the event? Actually, this year, you get the idea. These people, I just hate these people so friggin' much. Before the internet, these people were just annoying, but they could be handled or kind of mostly ignored. But after social media, these busybody manipulators discovered that they could concern troll their way into the attention that they so desperately craved, which is what all this is all about. These are not happy people who are just busy living their life. This passive battle, this is a big part of their life. And now with social media, you can actually track down their history over the years of them and their history of harassment of anyone who's a millimeter to the right of Mao and Stalin. And I mean, they can't hide that. And after a while, you look at them and like, oh, you're just a petty, horrible person, aren't you? Because we have your history on Facebook and all those other social media. You're just going after people. Ultimately, why don't you just create your own convention? That's like problematic or like whatever. I'm just trying to be diverse and inclusive. I feel like you're just parodying these Marxist words to somehow get some more dopamine shifted your way. And you can see that these people have a history of doing this kind of soy, smarmy, it's a passive aggressive, the backstabbing behavior. Like even the left wing looks at other left wing people like this and like, oh, I hear you. It's when you discover like somebody gossips about somebody else and as soon as you hear that, it clicks in your brain like, I see as soon as I leave the room, they're going to be speaking about me also. These people try to control situations like cons. Like, I mean, you've known these people your whole life, and we all try to. As soon as you see these people, you're like, I am gonna avoid this person as hard as I possibly can. But they're also trying to get attention shown their way, so they feel powerful. This is a great cover, this little Cthulhu type of thing. These are people who think that all this stuff they're doing, this concern trolling, actually is important. It's like this is just a convention, a science fiction convention, a comic book. There's gonna be some cosplayers. It's just a mild way to do a Saturday to see a bunch of people dressed up like Deadpool. It's kind of fun. It's $40 well spent for the whole day. It's well worth it if you're into the scene and get to see some of these writers. Like, it's kind of cool to see that. Like, I've read this guy's books, all these sci-fi books. Kind of interesting. Oh, I can buy the book. He can sign it. Like, I don't care about signatures, but it's interesting to see the people, and it's fun to just watch cosplayers. I've had a great time at conventions. I don't know about post Wu-Flu. That might be a whole different thing. But thing is, this concern, that is a cool cover. I like that kind of stuff. That kind of like ridiculous over the top stuff. So this is a big part of their life. This you could be jogging, or you could be writing a story, you could be doing almost anything else would be a better use of their time than doing this, trying to concern troll this type of stuff and get them kicked out of a convention by whipping up a mob on social media. And this is written by John Delarose, who's on YouTube. He's a science fiction author, fantasy author himself. And he had something. He's had he's had people go after him. He's the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, I believe, a person of color himself, possibly a woman of color. I don't know. I haven't checked. But marginalized, oppressed, disenfranchised, systematically, all that kind of stuff. And he's struggling. He's struggling to be someone who is not a left wing Mao Stalin respecter, and try to self publish books. And he gets attacked and kicked out of conventions all the time simply because he's vaguely right of center on some issues. And the conventions are run just by the soy boy pussies pretty much. So yeah, I mean he's gone through it. Like, been attacked in comic books. Someone like wrote something in reverse or something, a script in reverse. It's just really petty, childish stuff. And you look at the writers and editors like, you guys are adults. I mean, it's not funny. It'd be funny if you were like 12-year-olds or something, but this is adult behavior. This is bizarre that you would do this kind of stuff. And anyway, I remember Renfamous tried to do some of this stuff with one of the voice actor, Vic Mignogna, was going to some convention. And she finds out, I think she found, this the order of events is critical. She finds out that he's attending the convention, so quickly she runs online, she buys a ticket, and then complains, oh, he's going to be there at this convention. I'm so traumatized, and now I can't return my ticket. And this is all about me, me, me. It's like, nobody knows who you are. You're a nice little cosplayer. You dress up in costumes. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. You have a very small social media footprint on Twitter that, honestly, all of us would have had much huger social media footprints if we didn't get kicked off every 3 months, which is what happens whenever I get back on Twitter, even after Elon Musk bought it, unfortunately. These people, they live on Twitter. You can go through their tweet history and it's like, oh, so it's a Saturday. I'm doing potatoes this spring, building some raised bed potato gardens. That was what I did all Saturday, was prep the soil. So did you, you were on Twitter all Saturday. God, that's freaky. Were you walking the dog and like you had the Twitter in one hand on the cell phone, or were you sitting at home eating popcorn while I can see by your profile pic that you're 200 pounds. Maybe it's time to put Twitter down. I'm not on Twitter anymore. So I get on there like once a year for a month, and then there's 11 months off. So if these people were just living their lives, having a nice time photographing flowers or jogging through the hills, they'd be too busy to be this petty. And most of them, how do I say this? Let me zoom in on this a little bit. They don't do any jogging whatsoever. Their hobbies are less physical. They're more like drinking wine and eating cheese. Everybody loves cheese. While sitting at their laptop, so there's some meme about white people loving cheese, and you're like, wait, do other people not love cheese also, and possibly wine? They just like it's the South Park thing where Kyle's dad is sitting on a computer with a bottle of wine, and like the end of he's on there for like 3 hours drinking wine and just being a massive troll. This is a different kind of trolling. It's less fun, and it's just more soylent and smarmy, and the Grima liar worm tongue type of stuff. They're just looking for people to attack. I mean, these are the most worthless people you'll ever meet online or in your life. Just trying to track down people who are writing stuff. And if you want to know the history, like this involves what the Vox Day and the Hugo. I almost said the Hugo Boss. No, the Hugo Science Fiction Awards. And you see, over the years, it's been getting more and more woke, and you see the people who are picked for the awards, and you're like, so statistically, these Poxwalks, BLT, otherkin people, statistically, this is an abnormality. This is, the numbers don't seem to mesh up where, 90% of the writers are going to look a certain way, but when I look at the Hugo Awards, it's all blue-haired, Poxwalks, Zuri, otherkin type of stuff. I mean, how does the math doesn't seem to add up on this. I'm trying to say, like, it doesn't seem like the Hugo Awards are there on merit just by looking at the photographs. And then of course you can go read their stories. You're like, so how did this story win any award? How did it get published? Oh, well, it's self-published. Hey, self-publishing, man, don't knock that. Anyway, these people for like online trolls. These are the lowest of the low. They're even below the internet thirst traps, because these trolls are usually on the chunky side and not the fat kind of jolly. These are just miserable people, and they want to spread that misery. It's a big soylent club, and you're not in it. These people want to control all of it. They form their whisper networks, and they work to control conventions and other events. This is their life. The amount of control they can exert over people and try to get people kicked out of cons. And ultimately, if it was up to them, it's like there probably wouldn't be any cons. It would all just be a bunch of cat ladies and soy boys. Like, so diversity of thought? No, not so much. These are the busybodies who would tattle to the teacher. Now they can use social media to try to manipulate people into being disinvited from events. We'd be all better off if it became normalized. Just tell these people they're acting like children in need of a nap. I mean, publicly on social media, like, be polite but firm. If you're the convention owner, start putting your foot down. I mean, there's really no way around it, because otherwise they'll just keep pushing and pushing. You go, yeah, we don't do that here, so gonna have to block you and move on. I mean, come to the convention if you want. You don't have to view him, but you don't have the right to tell other people not to come. Like, we just don't do this concern trolling here. I'm not saying you have to use a bunch of 4-letter words and tell them to F off or anything, but if you start pushing back, I think you're gonna find there's a lot of people on your side, and then people go, oh well, how dare you not ban this person? We're not going to go to your convention. It's like, you weren't going to go anyway. I'm not going to buy your comic book. I'm not going to join your subscribe site. It's like, yeah, you weren't there anyway. I mean, you're not the supporters for all this kind of stuff. And the thing is, I do think the pendulum is at least slowing down a little bit. People are tired of this type of stuff. These type of busybodies who just want to stick their nose into every single little thing and control it, instead of just going off and doing their own thing. They make the vaguest of accusations, as this lady did. It's just some Marxist nonsense. It's like they just throw together a bunch of Bolshevik trigger words about safety and inclusivity, but she doesn't talk about what this writer has to do at all with her statement. It's just stochastic defamation. You combine the statement with the author's name so it comes up in a search engine. Problematic and safety and inclusive and istophobicism, and then the author's name and photograph shows up. You're like, but you never made the conclusion. This is just defamation. But she doesn't actually come out and make a defamatory statement of fact, because then she might get sued, or the whatever platform she's from might get sued. If they find a writer who has a different political view, they will attack, because they control the narrative so well that if you disagree with the globalists or the BLT agenda, they'll just call you phobic because you have a difference of opinion. We can call them istophobic also, but we don't control the media or the social media. They do. And we don't whip up these kind of mobs because we just don't. We think, oh, just if you don't like somebody's, some comic book writer, sci-fi guy at a convention, just don't go to his booth. I mean, you couldn't go to every booth anyway because you're going to spend your time on the stuff you want to spend your time on. And it's like, you just don't have to tell other people what to do, but they do. I mean, it's kind of with the chat bot got broken and they replaced it with Dan. It got, chat broken, whatever. They hacked it sort of through interesting set of conditions, and the left is so eager to jump on there and start censoring it. Like, we can't have another Tay incident. We have to censor this hate speech. And the right goes, yeah, we don't believe in hate speech. We just believe in speech. The speech you may want censored and deplatformed, but we think we believe in the open marketplace of ideas. Or hopefully if you're on the right, you do. But I mean, it seems like there's some people on the right who really don't believe in that either. So I don't know, politically homeless, I suppose. So their narrative gets pushed, and it becomes the accepted norm. You've seen it happen with Comicsgate, or with Mike Miller or Mike Barron try to crowdfund various comics, and so other social media platforms will use anonymous accounts to mass report your account and try to take it down. And you're interfering with people who are trying to take part in business and sell comics, because like these people who are doing it really have absolutely nothing better to do. Yeah, moderation and curation is censorship. That's the definition. People seem to they conflate and confuse First Amendment protected issues of constitutional issues with the general concept of censorship. Censorship exists. It's the idea of it. And then they say, oh, it can't possibly be censorship because it's not the government. No, the idea of it exists. The government thing is something separate, but the core idea is the concept of censorship. Yes, that is the definition of censorship. When you censor somebody, that's censorship. Oh, it's not. Well, this is just 1984 speak, is what it seems like. I hate it when they speak like this. They just sound like, they just sound like what they are, these busybodies. So all this stuff works because the social media and crowdfunding are controlled by these globalist parasites, which is all the more reason for us to start our own crowdfunding free speech sites. If someone starts one and it catches on as a free speech alternative, you're talking, Indiegogo and Kickstarter are billion-dollar companies. It's not inconceivable to think like, oh, if I started a free speech site, it could be a billion-dollar company. Yeah, that's how companies start. It sounds kind of weird to like look along, and then I look at Comics again, look at some of the heavy hitters in Comicsgate, and I think it wouldn't be the worst idea to get together and put like a few tens of thousands of dollars together, sell shares in this company, form some kind of corporate form, and do this crowdfunding thing. It seems like that's the logical next step of Comicsgate, and it's not that expensive, and it's not an insurmountable hurdle. And you got like several people who could put a few $1,000s into hiring a web design, a real basic web design person, and and if it doesn't fail, it's like the most you're out is a few $1,000s. Like there's a few people in Comicsgate who've got that kind of money who could fund it, and the upside is like, oh yeah, this is a $500 million company in 5 years. Really? Yeah. Turns out people really wanted a crowdfunding site. It's just something to think about. Obviously, I don't have that kind of money, but I know there are people around there who do have that kind of money. So these cat ladies and soy boys, they've got this weird public conversations because they're hoping to gather other cat ladies and soy boy simps into their cause, but it's all based on nothing. They start by saying something about they're not sure if everyone will be comfortable and inclusive and all that nonsense, but without any concrete accusations. The best the conventions would do, just tell these people we don't do this kind of thing, and we're gonna have to block you if you repeat it. And it puts them in positions like, well, okay, then now you're the one who's no longer welcome at the convention. It's like you could, and now you're blocked, and it's like you could continue your attack on this convention, but it's like you're not now. You're banned from the convention, or you're just told not to come. It doesn't have to be an actual ban. You're told not to come, and you're blocked by the company. So it's like if you continue to go after them, it looks kind of weird because it looks like you're stalking them just for attention, which is what you're doing. Which is this lady's a cosplayer, and like this is a part of her life. I think it's kind of a weird. You could try getting a macro camera and photographing flowers, or spider webs at night. I mean, you could do something. Anything might be a better use of your time than something like this. Or make your own convention. Do you want to have some kind of like purity spiral convention where nobody is problematic and it's just a bunch of politically correct type of, like the Hugo Awards. It's like so all these blue haired people, like how many did their stuff sell? Like what kind of numbers are we looking at in terms of comic books, graphic novels, and books that are winning these awards? What kind of numbers are selling? Like is it like the John Ringo from the I don't know the 80s and the 90s, or is he even like numbers like John Delarose crowdfunding his own comics, or like what kind of numbers are these blue haired people selling? You look at it like, oh, you should not be on stage because you sold like 10,000 copies of some Amazon sci-fi book that's all about you and your Zur Otherkin partner, some fantasy story. It's horribly written. It's like it didn't sell, but it won an award. Like, come on, dude, it didn't win an award. It won an award because you're somewhere on the hierarchy. You've got blue hair and you identify as all this kind of stuff. It's like he didn't win on merit. Oh well, the merits aren't important. Stephen King even he come out with a statement about art should be judged on merits, and what a skirt he turned out to be, because he got a little bit of pressure and he just I misspoke yesterday, and that's because I'm privileged and I misspoke and I was wrong, and art should not be judged on merits. It should be judged on some 1984 cultural Marxist theory. It's like you were right the first time. Art should be judged on merit. You're in a position where you don't have to apologize to anyone. Well, they won't license my books and they won't sell my movies and the empire will die. It's like, yeah, but you've made so much friggin' money. I understand. It's like, yes, the estate will continue to make money after you pass, but like you want to have any kind of balls whatsoever and say, it's time to put down my foot and not actually have to lie. Or you didn't have to come back the next day and say, oh, I was wrong. I misspoke. Art should not be judged on its merits. Like you could have just let it go, but you let them pressure you into all this kind of stuff. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, join the channel, become a member here for $1 a month over at Subscribestar. Check out the Rumble and the Odyssey. And I'll see you guys all next episode.